Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Inspired Selling. My name is Catherine Nunez, and I'm the host of the show. And today we're coming to you on a Monday. So I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. You enjoyed some of the last days of summer if your kids aren't in school. And get ready to learn some great things about building referrals, which will help grow your business. And it will give you one other way to look at how you can increase cash flow. So the Art of Inspired Selling is a live show, which is a longer format because I look for 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs that are not just surviving in the new normal, but they're actually thriving. And I ask them, they have to have a mindset, right, of a give, right? They want to give to the community. They're not going to show up and just talk about themselves. They're actually going to give you a teachable moment so you can find some golden nugget in that moment and take it and install it in your business today to make a difference. So today's guest is Donnie Boivin, right? I'm saying it right. Okay. So Donnie is changing the game of business development. And at age 22, right out of the Marine Corps, he struggled with what to do next. Thank you so much, Donnie, for your service. So he landed his first straight commission sales job and has spent over 2 decades learning what it takes to be successful in sales, business, and life. At the age of 40, he discovered he'd been living other people's dreams and not chasing his own. And if you guys are on my email list, I inserted a little comment here like, ain't that something we have in common, right? We often measure our own success to somebody else's yardstick, and it doesn't really get us anywhere in life. So it was through launching his own business that he found himself and grew an international business called Success Champions. He's the founder and CEO of the Success Champions family of companies, Success Champion Consulting, Growth Mode Podcast, Success Champion Magazine, the Badass Business Summit, and Success Champion Networking. His story about becoming a success champion in his own life has inspired thousands to get out of their own way and go for it. So get ready to have your fire lit and start chasing your own dreams. Let me move this out of the way and welcome to the stage my next guest, Donnie.
Hey, girl.
Hi.
How the heck are you?
I'm fabulous. Since you asked, I've had the opportunity already this morning to reframe what could have been hemmed in a bad day. I have a tire about to explode. I took the car to the tire dealer, and they said, "You don't have one of those special keys to take the lug nuts off." Oh. And I'm like, there's not a lot of time in my life where I wish I had a man in my life, but this is one of them. I don't like to deal with car stuff. I've already had to go to the dealer, wait in line, get the lugs rechanged, get back home and get ready for the live show. So I'm beautiful because that was just an opportunity to exercise my masculine energy, and I loved it.
You know what I love about that is this is real life. We're all doing that stuff. I mean, I've got a injured goose downstairs in my living room that I'm taking care of. So if you hear a random squawk, it's literally because I got a goose downstairs. And then
don't let my horse hear the goose squawk, because then you'll have my horse yelling at the goose.
and funny enough, we rescued a hedgehog yesterday from a family that just couldn't take care of it anymore. So now we have a hedgehog in the house. So
I love that about you, that you have that little farm going on. So, okay, let's get back to the show. Sure. Where are you coming live from today?
So I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, actually just outside of Fort Worth in a little town called Azle, straight from my farm. So amongst all the companies we run, I run a full working farm on top of it. We got goats, chickens, geese, ducks, guinea hens, hedgehogs, sugar gliders, bearded dragons. I mean,
what's a sugar glider?
So a sugar glider is like a flying squirrel with the size of a chipmunk. Is the best way I can describe it.
Interesting.
So Google, they're the cutest damn things. Make the weirdest noises, but they're nocturnal. So when we're going to bed, they're just getting up to play. They're pretty cool.
That is cool. And so, Donnie, one of the things that I ask all of my guests before they get going with their value content is, you've been through this transition, right? We just talked about it, from what are you going to do from commission to serving our country to coming out into this new world. And you've chosen this entrepreneurial venture. And that in and of itself has its own trials and tribulations and ups and downs. And you have to find that fire in the belly to keep you going, right?
For
So
sure.
what is it that inspires you to show up in your full self every day? And do you show up every day? And what tools or books or people or morning routines, what do you use that keeps you straight and moving forward in your business?
So that's an awesome question. It's really simple for me. Is on my journey, everybody always thought that I was going to go bigger than I actually saw it myself. And so when I finally turned, 40 and decided it was time to make the leap, it's the entire idea that I get the opportunity to be the guy that I always was looking for in my life. My parents are phenomenal, love them to death. And I grew up in kind of a Mayberry household where everybody wanted to hang out at our house. We just had the cool parents. But they weren't entrepreneurs. They weren't, business people or the likes. And, I've learned amazing things from them. But to really, really go big, I had to jump out and do this. And as I launched my company, I realized nobody was teaching the hard side of running a business. Everybody was kind of making it look like sunshine and rainbows. And so as I got out and struggled very hard at the beginning, I realized in that moment that a lot of this was going to be me documenting my journey, just so I can help others that were going through it. And so now it's really watching the success of others that are just around me that keeps me pushing and driving and rocking and rolling. The benefits that come from that as well, are amazing, but the pure joy of watching people win just because they're finally hearing something in a way that no one else has said it to them. So it's been fun that way.
That is great. And sometimes it takes just the right teacher, right, to hear a message. You can hear it over and over again, but when the right teacher shows up and the student is ready, they can receive that message and actually do something with it.
For
So
sure.
that's great. My camera went crazy. So what are we going to talk about today? Tell me about your book. Tell me about the journey to write that book. How are you using it?
Yeah, for
Those
sure.
types of questions.
So it was interesting. Is referrals have played a big part in my life along the way with business and everything that I've done, and nobody ever really taught me how to get referrals. So I had to come up with creative ways to get a whole bunch of referrals coming into my business, and in doing that, I learned quickly that not a lot of people knew how to get referrals. So I kind of documented my process. I documented how I was getting referrals, and I started teaching it. And interestingly enough, enough people kept asking me for all these different ways that I was getting referrals. So I said the heck of it and just wrote a very quick 32-page book called Endless Stream of Referrals, and it's 10 strategies to get a ridiculous amount of referrals coming into your business. And that's what I'll walk you guys through today is a bunch of those strategies. But it's been fun. I mean, it took off. It's my best book I've ever had out of the 4 books we put out there, performance wise, and people continue to gobble it up and send me messages on it. So it's been a lot of fun to put together, just teaching people how to get referrals in, because a lot of people just don't know how to ask for it.
So what do you self-publish your own books?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Interesting. So for everybody out there, you have a self-publisher here. You can ask some questions about that too. So let's get right into it. The show will be evergreen, so people can come back and watch and pause and rewind and see what it is. Let's talk about referrals, because I think that some people are afraid to ask for them, right? When you think about it,
the number one reason they don't get them.
Yeah, they're afraid to ask for it. The same for testimonials. So let's talk about some smooth ways we can lean into owning our zone of genius, right? And then ask. So let's talk about those.
Yeah.
And as you talk, I'll type them in the chat and see. We have let's hear you guys. We have some people watching. We see. So
and I'd love to know where they're watching from. So tell me where you're watching from, because I love talking to people from all over the world. So tell me hi in chat. I'd love to say hi back. But
and I want to make sure that we're live on LinkedIn too. It doesn't look like we went live on LinkedIn today. It's interesting. If you guys are on LinkedIn, let's hear from you.
So
Yeah.
go. I'm not familiar with the Restream platform too much, so
I'd have to leave the studio and come back in.
I'm all
So I might
back
have.
in.
Yeah. So we'll just keep going,
Yeah.
and I
All
can.
good.
I
Post it
can.
later.
No. Yeah, it's online. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And we're live on a ton of platforms. So if anybody's seeing this and wondering why we're carrying on like we're carrying on, it's because we're on live on multiple damn platforms, talking on Facebook, LinkedIn, all over the place. So, oh, cool. There's a hi from LinkedIn. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank goodness. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for letting us know.
That makes
Sometimes
it
you don't know, you know?
Yep. So,
Okay.
so the first strategy to get referrals coming in your business, and it's really, really simple, and I think a lot of people talk about it, but they don't actually put it into play, is you've got to know specifically who the heck you're looking for. A lot of people, even if they get the courage to ask for a referral, they ask for it in such a generic nature that people can't help them out. It's like, it's like a chiropractor going, anybody with a back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a ton of people, but it doesn't give me any value. So I put together a 3-part acronym to help people know specifically who they're looking for. And a 3-part acronym is the word CAP,
Okay.
CAP. And that stands for characteristics, alternatives, and problems. CAP, not T, not CAP.
Okay. We are on a farm animal link
Yeah, for sure.
platform
It
today.
works. It works.
Okay. CAP. Yes.
So characteristics, alternatives, and problems. And
Okay.
characteristics is exactly what you think it would be. It's the demographics, psychographics of your perfect clients. You're going to want to think about things like, what's their title, what's their company size, what's their annual revenue, how many employees do they have, how long has the company been around, how long have they been in that position? Are they married? Do they have kids? What books do they read? What podcast are they into? How old are they? And every bit of information you can find. And I found there's a gentleman by the name of Harvey Mackay. And
Okay.
Harvey Mackay was really big around the time Zig Ziglar was around doing his thing. And he came up with a Mackay 66. And you can literally just Google it. And now people are telling me it's over 66 now. But it's a massive list of characteristics that you can use to come up with everything you'd want to know about your clients. Phenomenal list. And I encourage everybody to go find his website and download that list. The second one is alternatives, and this one gets a little bit tougher. But alternatives is what are people spending money on that they should be spending with you? So I got a funny story of when I was doing sales training. I literally had a client that we were down to the final table to agree to move forward with sales training. And as we were getting ready to sign the contract, he looked at me and said, "Donnie, we can't do the deal." And I said, "Oh, what happened?" He goes, "Well, I just spent all the money on the training we were going to do on a tremendous amount of billboards across the U.S." I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, I just spent all the money on billboards." I'm like, "Wait, you literally just bought a bunch of billboards versus training your salespeople." So I started telling people, I'm like, if you know anybody crazy enough to buy billboards versus spending money on sales training, that's a good introduction for me. So alternatives, what are they spending money on that they should be spending with you? And then the final one is
I frame that a little differently. I always say, where are they? Who are they with? Instead of with you. So that's the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
And the last one is problems, and this is the easiest one, is what problems do you solve for your clients and people? So you got, characteristics, alternatives, and problems. And I think if people will spend time really detailing out specifically who their ideal avatar, ideal target market is, now when they sit across from somebody versus saying, "Hey, do you know anybody with a house?" or "Do you know anybody that's looking for sales training?" and generic and ask, you can get very specific and say, "Hey, do you know anybody that's, been in business for more than 5 years, has 10 or 12 employees?"
Yes.
And walk them through all this. And people need to be able to get their mind wrapped around, and you need to be able to open them up to think about specific people that they can introduce you to. So that.
And what's your thoughts and opinion on along those same lines, and maybe even on your website and some of your messaging of saying who you do not work with?
Oh, my entire sales philosophy is if you've got to convince or persuade them to buy, you're going to bring on the worst client you ever had, right? I always come from the perspective of they've got to prove that I want to work with them. Because I'm not dealing with the pain in the ass clients because it drives me
But they have an
bonkers.
extra fee, right? We call that a fee.
Sometimes, but I've just gotten to a place in life where I'm not even going to put up with even the Peter, fee. I love that. But I just don't have time for an energy drain or people that are going to be not able to pay their bills or companies that, I had a company the other day told me they have a 120-day pay period. And I'm like, yeah, no, you don't.
Mhm.
Not with us, at least. I'm
Right.
not going to train and then 120 days later get paid. You run your business however you like, but we won't work on that schedule.
Right. Or I'll bill you and then we'll train you in 120 days.
Exactly.
I have a solution for that.
Yeah, I like that. I wish I was quick enough on my feet for that one. But yeah, I mean, you really got to know specifically who you want to work with. We've all had bad clients. We've all had that client that when that meeting was coming up, you were just dreading. I would highly suggest to people that they make a list of the characteristics that they don't want to work with, and they spend most of their sales calls focused on making sure people don't fit any of those characteristics. And they'll be amazed when you sit across from somebody, you try to actually disqualify them versus qualify them. You'll have such a more in-depth conversation because you're no longer trying to convince and persuade. You're trying to get them to come to you.
Yes.
So the second strategy to get a bunch of referrals in, because once you have the characteristics, it makes it really, really easy. And Catherine told me I should have sent her slides in this next one, but I'm going to walk you through it. It's 100% on me for not having visuals. But
I'm typing. I'm being your scribe. We got it.
So if you were in front of you, you have a pad of paper in front of you. What I want you to do is draw one big box, and then I want you to draw a vertical line and a horizontal line, horizontal line straight across. So you're making 4 boxes inside of one big box. Okay, and this is called Foursquare. And if you want to see it really, really cool, if you get the book, it's 99 cents on Amazon. You can see all the visuals drawn out in this. And what I've found over the years is if you sit across from somebody and say, hey, can we have a referral conversation? And you set the stage properly, they're more apt to want to have that conversation with you. So I created a process called Foursquare that makes it really, really, really easy to have the referral conversation. So it sounds like this. So Catherine, I'm going to describe somebody. And what I want you to do for me is...
Yeah, I'm going to draw I'm drawing my cube right now.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm going to describe somebody. And what I want you to do is first names only. I want you in that top left box. I want you to write down first name. And if you guys are watching live, in your top left box, if I describe some names for you, go ahead and write just first name only in this top left box. So the perfect people that I love to meet, we call GSDs. And if you don't like profanity, earmuffs LinkedIn. But a GSD stands for a get shit done person. Okay. This is the people that when they walk into a room, their presence walks in before they do. They're never on the sidelines. They're always up front leading the things. They don't sit in the cheap seats. Everybody knows who they are. They're not a circle of influence. They are literally a higher performing type person.
You don't laugh, but I have a package that's called the Get Shit Done package. So that's why we're such kindred spirits here.
I love it. I love it. So, but quickly, as I was describing that, who came to mind? Like a first name, who came to mind as a GSD?
Oh yeah. So I have those people, right? That I work with me on that package. Yep. So one of them is Nikki Ahartz. So she's that one of those people,
love it.
Get shit done. And they're busy for me. I outlined for that package, just that persona, the busy entrepreneurs that are getting stuff done. They're just out there and they're doing all those things. They're talking and they're giving and they're speaking and they're having $18,000 months and more. And they're just starting to get so busy that they can't get those little crumbs done that they need to get done. And I'm the perfect person to get it done for them.
Yep. right? And what I love about that is, one, that's the perfect person that I love working with myself, because we're going to get them to go to the stratosphere. But the trick is, when you're so specific in describing who you want, you can sit across from somebody and say, okay, in Foursquare, what I want to do is describe this individual. In the top left box, you put the first name only. So they'll usually go, well, I know Nikki, I know Catherine, I know Bill, I know Sally, and they'll start giving you a list. And if you go through CAP, characteristics, alternatives, and problems, and you just start going through that, you say first names only of all these people, they'll start listing off a whole bunch of people in there. And science has shown that asking for a first name only is not a threat, because they're not overcommitting to anything yet, right? So you're just asking for first names. And what I've found is that continuing to progress forward in this, you'll find that they'll readily open up. And wow, that was weird. We switched sides.
We had an error.
Nice. So hopefully we caught some of that. But front left box, first names. Okay.
Mhm.
Really, really simple. Take them through CAP. Top right box, you're going to ask them to rank those first names by how well they know them. So top right box, rank the names by how well they know them. And they're going to say things like, well, I know Catherine first, and then I know Nikki, then I know Bill, then I know Sally, Mark, Jim, whatever, all the way down the list. And they're going to rank all those out. Bottom left box, you're going to ask them to rank them by how comfortable they would be introducing those people to me. So how comfortable would they actually be introducing those people to me in the bottom left box? And they'll go through, and you'll hear some of the funny things. You'll hear things like, Bill's a real jackass. I'm not introducing you to him, right? But I love Sally. I love Catherine. I love Nikki. And they'll go through their list, ranking out how comfortable they are. And then in the bottom right box, you ask by when. When will they make the introduction? And what you're going to find is they'll tell you, well, I'm seeing Catherine later today. I'll see Nikki tomorrow, and I'll have the rest done by 3:00 on Friday. And then your move is, cool. What happens come 3:00 on Friday and I haven't heard from you? And then they'll tell you, well, by God, call me, carrier pigeon, whatever, get to me and I'll make these introductions. And what I found is, by creating this little system to take people through, it makes for a really natural conversation. But there's a trick to this that really makes this badass. And the trick is, do it to them first. So flip everything and say, hey, Catherine, can we have a referral conversation? What I'd like to do is sit down and talk to you about, people you might be able to introduce me to. But to do that, is it okay if I try and figure out how many introductions I can make for you first? And then you flip it. And then
lead with value.
Yep. I then would say, okay, what are your characteristics? What are your alternatives? What are your problems? And I would come up with a whole bunch of first names for you, and then go, okay, this is the ones I know best. These are the ones I'm most comfortable introducing you to. Here's when I get it done. And when you give it first, provide value first, what you're going to see is they're going to be so stoked, because you give them, 3 to 5, introductions. They'll ready to turn around and do it back with you. So Foursquare, especially combined with CAP, is really, really, really cool way to get a process and system of referrals coming in.
And I feel like I'm on this show alone, because your images were like frozen. I don't know if anybody else sees it frozen, but it's, I don't know.
I don't know where still coming through.
The audio is coming through perfect. So we're podcasting right now.
Yep. Hey, we'll go with it. I love technology.
That's right. It's great. All right. So, and then I actually have the book. I just want you to know I got it. Awesome. And so, this is in case you guys can see. Here's my little grid. I made it so that you see what it would look like. Okay. Does anybody feel a little like that technique might feel aggressive for them, or do you break that ice by giving first, by saying
you break it by giving first?
Okay.
And I've learned that over the years. There's only 3 reasons people do not get referrals, and it's really, really simple. The only reason you don't get referrals is, number 1, you're not asking. Mm-hmm. Number 2, you're a jackass. Number 3, everybody's afraid that you're going to sell anybody they introduce them to. right? Those are the only 3 reasons you don't get referrals. So if you're proactively helping others and not, I mean, because there's a lot of people out there that are like, man, I'll make sure you get to anybody you want to, but they come across like such a greasy salesperson
Yeah.
that, yeah, they may make a lot of introductions, but you don't want to put your name associated with them. So I would tell a lot of people, and there's a lot of industries that lend themselves to that style, so it makes them very, very hard to be referred because they come across so aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody exists. It takes all kinds of people, right, in this world. But I have such a relaxed, get to know you first approach to sales. I want to know the person before I even can tell if I can help them, right? But I have had people get on Zoom calls with me and they are just bam, bam, bam. They can tell I'm not perfect for them and they want out. So I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I don't even remember the person's name when they act like that.
Yeah, but for me, if an hour-long conversation can be done in 20 minutes because we both realize quickly that we're not a fit, I'm ready to get me out of it. There's no point in the torture of continue on with the conversation because, like you, I want to genuinely connect with somebody. I want to know their story. I want to know where they're going. And at the end of the day, with my clients, I want to go have a beer with them. I want to go have a rum with them. I want to hang out with the people. I want to have fun with the people I'm working with. And if we wouldn't be able to hang out, then we're not doing business together.
Yes.
Because it's a miserable damn relationship.
Liz, I'm going to try one thing. I'm going to bring you right back on. Let me see if I do something here. If you're not frozen anymore.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, you're still frozen. That's
I wonder
okay.
why I'm frozen.
I don't know, you guys. Is there somebody that can tell us out there? Are we frozen? Are we coming through? I was living in Mexico this summer, and Terry Levine was my guest, and I kept losing internet. And it was her own show, and I just was so grateful. My internet kept going in and out and in and out. I'm like, you know what? We just roll with the punches here. That's how it goes. It's awesome. All right, so let us know, you guys, if this information is valuable, if you feel comfortable that you could create this grid and be able to have a specific conversation about referrals, right? So
I'm finding us on LinkedIn to see if it was popped up, and it shows us playing.
Okay. We're good. It's just me. That video is going to be bad. All right. So let's keep going. What's next after we make our grid?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 5 key places that this is number 3, 5 key places that you should be looking for referrals that you're most likely not looking. The first place is who gets paid when you get paid. And this is an amazing one for me because I think a lot of people don't look at their vendors and such as referral partners. And, I don't have a single vendor or client that I work with that I don't have a referral relationship with. And I always look at it this way: if a vendor's not willing to send me business, then I can find a vendor who will. So think about
so timely for me right now. That's super timely for me. Yes.
Because I want them to be a champion for what I do, because the more money I make, the more money they get to make most times.
Absolutely.
So I think about, the people who help me with social media, people help me with the podcast, merchant services, bankers, my insurance. All those people are referral partners. And if they're not, then, like I said, I'll find somebody who can. So you should be talking to every one of your vendors about them opening doors for you.
Yes. And it's interesting because I was referring to this content writer, and I asked, I said, do you have a referral program, or, I really like your work? She goes, oh no, I'll only work directly with the people. I don't work with referrals or give referral bonuses or anything. And I was like, that's such a closed-minded business model, but it works for that person.
I'm not big on the referral bonuses and stuff, but to say don't send me referrals, that's like saying I don't want a business. That's tough for me. So the second place you should be looking is who's already got your ideal clients that's not a competitor. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing sales training, a lot of attorneys, CPAs, a lot of ad agencies were really, really good fits for me because I didn't want to train attorneys. I didn't want to train CPAs. I didn't want to train engineers. So I could go have fun, make friends with all these people, and it wouldn't, hurt, my relationship because if I made them friends, they wanted to introduce me to their clients.
Yes.
So I always tried to find the people that complemented what I did, that weren't competition, and figure out how we could collectively go after business together. So who's got the clients that you want to be working with?
Mm-hmm.
The third one is who have you sent referrals to in the past? So who have you sent referrals to? And I ask people quite often, and a lot of them don't have an actual referral system to follow up with people that they've sent referrals to. So at minimum, once a quarter, people should be reaching out to the people they've sent referrals to check in, see how those referrals went, see how those times went, and how um, making sure they were good introductions. And um, just trying to see. I don't know if it's fully playing on LinkedIn. It looks like the video is, but your text aren't coming through. It's weird. Oh, the fourth one, or excuse me, the third one, no, fourth one, is who's given you referrals in the past. So who's sent you referrals? And what I found is the people who already love you,
Mm-hmm.
already referring you, they want to send more referrals. So you should, at minimum, once a quarter, best every 30 days, be following up with the people that you referred and the people that referred you, and touching base and see if you can open more doors for them, or you can get some referrals for them, and have some great conversations. And then the fifth play. Oh, go ahead.
So are you keeping these people in a CRM? Like what method are you using for that?
So, which is actually step. Hold on.
Oh,
You're
no,
good. You're good. You're good. I don't mind jumping ahead.
no,
It's
I'm
actually
just
step number 5, which is know your numbers. And now we have a very large CRM, and I have a team on it that are keeping track of a lot of the stuff. But we use Entreport, and we're tracking all the way through. And I'll 2 seconds, and I'll take you guys through what we're tracking.
okay, good.
And so we had to follow up with that. And
I'm
then the
gonna make
last,
some notes in the event to make sure that they're there. So
cool,
okay.
cool. And then the fifth place you should be looking that you're most likely not is your current clients. And what I found is very few people actually sit down with their clients and have real referral conversations. I want my clients to win. So if I can sit down with them and help them get to their ideal client by opening doors and introductions, I want to do that. So before I take on a client, before we sign the contract and move forward, I always say, hey, at some point when you get the results that I promise you're going to get, and you're happy with everything I've done, I'd love to sit down and have a referral conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way for me to do that is to make sure that I'm spending enough time with you, and I'm not having to go out and do so much prospecting it pulls me away from working with you. So can we agree that if you get the results, the ROI that I promise you'll get, that you'll be okay having a referral conversation with me? And they say yes every time. And then when you get to that spot, they're like, man, you want to have that referral conversation? Let's see if I can open some doors.
Mm-hmm.
But by setting the stage first, they're just excited to come in and open as many doors. And then you take them, your clients, through Cap and Foursquare, and you'll be amazed at how many doors they can actually open for you. So
Okay.
really, really fun way. Let's skip ahead to know your numbers, which is what should you be tracking so you can keep track of everything going. So there's 2 ways to attack this one. We'll dive into both of them really, really easily. The first one is you need to be tracking your activity. So the activities you need to be tracking, number 1, is referrals given, that referrals you are giving out. So, and a lot of people do this backwards. They track first the number of referrals they receive, and never retract the number of referrals they give out. I can tell how successful somebody's going to be in business by the number of referrals they give to others. And oftentimes people aren't giving referrals out. It's a surefire way to make sure that your business isn't going to continue to grow from a referrals perspective. So, oh, cool. They're seeing us on Facebook. Thanks, Kelly.
Yes.
Um,
Kelly is coming to us from San Diego. She's a female entrepreneur and she is an awesome marketing person. So nice to have you here, Kelly.
Awesome. So number one thing you need to be tracking is the referrals you give out. The number two thing you should be tracking is the number of referrals you receive. And then number three thing you should be tracking is number of meetings with people who can say yes. And if you are monitoring those three things every week, you will be amazed by the progression forward, how awesome and how many referrals you have coming into your business. It's a really cool thing to track. In addition to that, you need to put referral conversations and key moments on each one of your clients in your database, in your CRM, that allows you to say, hey, I reached out. So what I do, and I'll try and do show and tell, kind of. So I'll sit down. I know,
it's like, which way do you hold it?
Right, I'll sit down every Monday morning. I'll get up around 4:00, and I will go to LinkedIn and make a massive list. So this has got 30 names on it, I think, of people I'm going to be reaching out throughout the day, throughout the week. And then I can make notes on it. That way, at the end of the day, I can sit down with my CRM and then fill out all the information in there to keep everything updated. So I'm still a little bit old school with my spiral notepads and everything.
Me too. It's sad, but I've upgraded to a nice artistic book now.
Wow, look at you.
Okay, so I want to just make a point right now. In a lot of people find it easier to spend time writing fancy social media posts or having conversations in a Facebook group as their networking event versus these things that you're talking about right now, right? And I like, because of my background is sales, right? Sales cures all, right? Sure. The money you can bring in, the strategy, that you should have equal strategies for content creations, for marketing, for speaking, for those are all awareness things. Everybody can know you exist, but are you closing business? Mm-hmm. Are you making a list of those people that you can work with? And Donnie is like hitting it right, bam. Are you waking up Monday morning and do you know the 30 people? How many people is it going to take to put in your pipeline to actually have the numbers that you want for the month? Do you spend equal amount of time in CEO time outlining that perfect or that prospect list? Who's your perfect prospect? How are you going to reach them? Do they know you exist? How do you know they know you exist, right?
For sure. And, I think often, people, because they're not tracking their numbers, I mean, even taken simply, knowing how many meetings you're going to have that week with people who can say yes to you, that really will set you up for a lot of success. If cool, to hit my projections, my numbers, the revenue I need coming in, then I need to meet with 10, business owners this week, 10 people can say yes. And for every 10, on average, that's leading to 2 new deals or 3 new deals. It's really easy to scale and grow your business when you start looking at things from a science versus the art side of selling. Because the art is the charisma, the fun. It's the part I really enjoy. But the science makes you really win because you can duplicate the processes and systems.
And that's called knowing your close rate, you guys. So if you have 10 conversations and you close 3, what's your close rate?
30%.
So
you asked a Marine to do math. I almost had to take off my shoes and look at my toes. Holy cow.
I do chick math. That's why I have a calculator. Spreadsheets are my friend. Right. Okay, so know your close rate. And people ask you that. I ask people that sometimes, like, what's your close rate? And they're like, I don't know. I used to, when I managed my sales team, know your close rate. How many sales calls are you going to make? How many people are in your pipeline? You only have, where are they at? Are they at proposal, have you even met with them? What's your strategy? What's your account strategy? All of those things are really helpful in sales to know what you're going to do. Less is more.
For sure.
For me.
For sure. And I think people don't do it because this is the side that feels like work. This is what feels like the hard stuff. And what people don't often understand is, looks like we lost LinkedIn.
Somebody just a minute ago said they were giving us flowers.
All right. Well, weird. So now it's showing 3 again. Okay, so we're back. But everybody knows that the difference between being successful, however you define it, and not being successful is the people who are willing to put in the time, do the things that others won't. So simply tracking your numbers can be a massive move to really, really grow and scale your business. It's really, really, really simple for me. So another one you guys can do to grow your business is I think everybody should have a hit list. And a hit list is really, really simple. I'm curious how many people watching have a list of 10 to 25 exact either person name or company or something, a list of key targets they're going after to try and get the business from. And if you don't have a hit list, there's a lot of time going to be spent searching on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever else, trying to find the people you should be going after. Imagine keeping a revolving, top 25 list that you keep going at any given time. Because now when you sit across from a referral partner, a buddy that's willing to do referrals, you can go, hey, do you know anybody on this list? And if you're not in the B2B game, you're in a more B2C game, you need to be thinking about, okay, who are the industries or people that would be my biggest referral partners, and make a hit list of those type of people and saying, hey, if I can get to this person, they might be able to open up my world for me. And you'll be amazed of how many times you sit across from somebody and go, hey, do you by chance know who Catherine Nunez is with the social selling agency? And people are like, oh my God, yeah, totally. Would you be comfortable making an introduction?
I was just listening to Russell Brunson's book, and he was talking about his top 100, like his dream influencers that could absolutely make a difference in his life if those people either mentioned them or and he talks about how to go after getting on their radar. And so that can be applied to a smaller scale as well.
For sure.
That was a nugget I picked up from his book. I liked it.
I love it. And, it keeps people focused when they know who they're going after. And imagine if you do any sort of weekly networking, like Success Champions networking, or anything like it, when you go to that meeting, instead of saying, I do X, Y, and Z, you can be like, hey, I'm trying to get to Catherine. Does anybody know Catherine? Or I'm trying to get to, sales trainers. Anybody know Donnie Boivin? Those type of things, when you get very specific in who you're going after, it makes it really, really easy for other people to refer you. And that's part of our job as in the referral game, is to make it easy for people to put our name out there for us. Especially if you're a person who sucks at asking for referrals, you've got to become referable. And the best way to become referable is to be able to quickly articulate what you do, but more importantly, articulate exactly who you're looking for. It makes it easy for the rest of us.
Yes, it does. It does. And when I first started in from corporate to an entrepreneur, I had a gentleman say to me, I really need to know who I can send to you, because I want to blow wind in your sails and see you succeed. And that was really an impactful
great phrase.
Right? I need to be able to blow wind to you. I need to support you. And it has stuck with me. Now you guys, I invite you to go get Donnie's book. You can use it as a workbook. You can get it through Kindle, right? Is it on Kindle? I got it. That's where I got it. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you can look at the pages, you can screenshot them, you can write on them, you can do all kinds of stuff. So the show's about to wrap, but I want, Donnie, you have an event coming up, which I'm actually thinking about coming to. I have all kinds of flight credits here. Tell us about your big event that's coming up, what people will get out of it, the big lineup of people that you have. What does that look like?
So we have the Badass Business Summit coming September 23rd through the 25th to Arlington, Texas. We have 17 amazing speakers, from Kevin Hunter, who's got 350,000 YouTube followers and makes $5,000 a day on YouTube, teaching
I could do that,
right? He teaches how to use YouTube to grow your business. To Laura DeFranco, who's an 18-time best-selling published author, going to teach how to use your book. But we've got sales trainers, social experts, mental, people. From Sean Crane, did 5.5 years in prison, found Toastmasters of all things while in prison, and he turned his life around. And now he's out teaching others how to go big in their life by a principle he learned from 2 sticky notes he had on his prison wall through his entire detainment. So just awesome. We'll have over 250 people in attendance, a trade show. We're going to do a live podcast of the Growth Mode podcast. Kevin and I will sit down and we'll be fielding questions from the audience. And if you've ever been around my world, there'll be a lot of heckling from the crowd. So it should be pretty damn funny, because I'm a smart ass with the best of them. So it should be a lot of fun.
And it's just so awesome, right, that we can now start to get together in person again.
Yes.
It's just opening up so many avenues, building relationships. So hotel information, is there a lot of hotels around?
Yes, we're actually in a hotel, the Sheraton in Arlington, right there next to the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Ranger stadiums. So great tourist traps with a lot of bars and such. And hotel rooms are only $129 a night. And we've blocked out a good chunk of rooms, so there's still some rooms left. But we're 31 days out as of right now from this. So move quickly, because we've got sales teams on the phones now selling out the rest of the tickets. So we're going to get close to selling out for too long. So if you're interested, come hang out with us. And, I'd love to meet you. I mean, face to face, and, me, you go to a conference to have cocktails. I mean, to learn.
Well, I have been in sales, and I have been known to toss a few down and close a bar down or two. I'm not sure. It just goes with the territory. I don't know. So thank you so much, Donnie, for coming. I think that I know that this is an area that you guys, if there's 2 things you could do just from listening to the show, right? Write down your prospects. Write down you don't have to call it a hit list if that feels dirty to you. Write down a list of prospects that could change your life for the month. Know the number you want to hit. Know how many sales calls you have to close a deal, and that's your close rate, right? The quadrant that we talked about. How can you have those conversations with people so that when you're on a networking call with someone, you're not going, you do want to get to know them, but this is a tool you could use to have a more effective conversation with a profitable business outcome for both people on the conversation.
For sure.
Right? It's a way that you can do that. So there's lots of things that you could implement from this show, from Donnie's book. Take a look at it. If you have any other tips, any referral tips that you guys have that we're not talking about today, put it in the show notes, put it in the chat, use for us #replay, and we'll go back and we'll monitor it and we'll see if there's anything. Maybe if Donnie does a new and improved version, he'll add that to his list of referral ideas. So any last minute notes or things that you want to tell the audience? How can I put the Baddest Business Summit in the chat so they can go to that website. And then, who is your perfect person? How are you monetizing your business? Are you going after corporations? Are you going after smaller size businesses? Who's your perfect target market?
So we have 6 companies altogether. So it's a different target for each one of the companies. But I
Okay.
like working with the small independent business owners. Give me the ones that are on the grow because we can just teach them from a sales business development side of things.
Mhm.
How to do a lot of cool things to grow and scale their business. How to actually go after the bigger clients to scare the crap out of them, so they can really really go big. So that's who we really like working with. And it'll be mostly attendees. But also, as a gift to your audience, if they will text the word success to 817-318-6030, I'll send them over a free training and they get links and access to everything we do. So text the word success to 817-318-6030, and we'll send them over a whole bunch of stuff that they can use.
817-318-6030.
That's it.
Okay,
Just send
we
the word
got it.
success. Um, and
That's one of my favorite hashtags, by the way.
that's awesome. We'll package up some fun stuff for them, and they can find us all of our Facebook groups and everything from there. So
Yes,
um,
and I did put that in the show notes as well. So they have the information. This has been a really valuable show. Thank you so much for showing up and for delivering to the audience. And we have another show this week, you guys. Normally I do go live on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. So we are going live on Wednesday. And I'm really excited about that next guest. And I'll get that email out to you. So make sure you get on my email list so you know if you want to watch the show. Also, I create Facebook events and LinkedIn events so that you know what's coming up. And I'm going to wrap the show. And thank you so much. Can you drop that in the chat? Yes. Everything I will put in the chat and also on the LinkedIn event, Gerald. Thank you so much for commenting. I'm putting all of this into the LinkedIn event as well. So I appreciate everybody coming in. And if you think that you want to be a guest on the Art of Inspired Selling and you have a value-driven business and you want to give to the community, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to bring you on the show so that we can share your subject matter expertise with the world.
and guys, do her a favor and tell other people to tune in the show. What a great interviewer! What a fun conversation!
Thank
And
you.
if you will help other people to get to her shows when these things go live, it'll help her out tremendously to impact and change the world with her message, which she's doing some amazing things. So get other people to tune in on her regular live scheduled program.
Yes, and it is fun though to have questions and to be able to give shout outs to people who take the time, like Gerald. Let's bring you on real quick. Thank you so much, Gerald, for tuning in and making a comment on the show. But it's here. You know what? I'm going to show up. Even if no one watches, I still show up. So
Absolutely.
that's consistency at its best. All right, you guys, signing off. Donnie, stay on for a moment. We'll see you guys on Wednesday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Take care.